The one failing of Western society is that we're conditioning people to believe that government grants us the ability to do things that are normal and natural, rather than government restricts the very few things that we might naturally do that are very detrimental to society. And that framing and this subtle shift in framing how government operates from this thing that is to be like tolerated mildly, uh, as this miniature tyranny with the least amount of infringements, into this incorporated part of our lives where we're a cooperative, happy group of fucking losers just bowing to whatever government tells us. Like how the West has done that so effectively is terrifying and disheartening. And we're like, the sad thing is the US is about the best on it. Which
But
means this whole idea that America, like I said, America's like the best at it. We're like the most freedom loving, and yet that's embarrassing. That should bother everybody on earth, that we are the most freedom loving country. But when you think about what it's done to Europe, to Canada, uh, and you look at those countries and their integration with government as part of their lives, licensure for literally everything that you do, and just an acceptance. Well, of course, government would regulate everything that exists. Why wouldn't they? That is one of the most egregious failures of Western civilization when you think about how America started, and with this idea that government was an intolerable thing that must be entertained, but only to the minimum, is where we started. And now we're like, no, no, give me that sweet, sweet government. As long as you'll take my money and hold it and give me a juicy tax return later. It's like, but bro, that was your money. Like they just held it for a fucking year. They just took it from you so you didn't have it, and they gave it back to you. They're like, yeah, but it was a lot. It's like, that's because they took a lot. That's because they took a lot of your money. They never mind. Never mind. Just give me my check. Right? Just give me my check. And it's a fantastic thing to watch in a real weird way because the government has so effectively bought us with our money. They bought us with our own stuff. They take it from you and then they give it to you in different ways. And you're like, yeah, actually, that's what I would have spent it on, I guess. And we're all okay with it. We're like, actually, since you gave me some of my stuff back, I mean, not as much as you took, but some of it, and I mean, in ways that I didn't want, but at least I got something. Since you did that, then I guess, well, yeah, you can just do more stuff now. You can just take more of my stuff, take more of my freedom, take more of my rights. Tell me more of what I can and can't do. Actually, and take more of my money and then put more officers on the street and like on the sidewalks and stuff to tell me how I'm doing things wrong. And when they tell you how you're doing things wrong, they do it very effectively, of course. Like they come up to you, they ask a bunch of questions that you'd be weirded out if anybody else asked. And then they tell you like you have to be arrested now. And you're like, wait, what does that mean? They're like, well, we're gonna take your arms, we're gonna put you in handcuffs, we put you in this car that you paid for, and then I'm gonna drive to a station that you paid for, and I'm gonna take you out of the car, and I'm gonna bring you into the building, and then I'm gonna fingerprint you and put you on a list and accuse you of something, whether you did it or not. I mean, you can pay for someone to figure out if you actually did it, but I'm gonna put you on a list, and then after that, I'm going to put you in a cell where you paid for it, and then you can pay to get out of it, or you can wait. You're like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I want more of that. I want more of those people walking around to tell me what I did. And the funniest thing is conservatives and Republicans routinely want more of that. They beg for it. They're like, this is such a good idea, actually. You know what we should do? We should actually we should get more police on the streets, right? Like that'll fix the problem. Ignoring the fact that no matter how many police we've ever put on the streets, no matter how much money we've thrown at these problems, they're always there. They're always persisting. Your life is constricting. Everything you do is getting slightly less and slightly more watched and slightly more monitored. And yet, everything that these criminals do all the time, this crime that we keep hearing about, it just doesn't seem to change and go down. And yet, every single fucking time, you'll hear conservatives and Republicans out there just, yeah, you know what? Just more police will do it. Just more police, because they have been so effectively bought. But see, like having children, you buy one ice cream, but the other one you don't buy ice cream because they don't want ice cream. They want a Rubik's Cube, right? And government has figured this out. I don't know if you guys recognize this, but government has figured out how to purchase each of the main groups. And the best part is they've really narrowed it down to two primary groups of people that they have to buy off, and they're very effective at doing it. And each group is so eager to thank them, thank government for that. Like, oh, I'm so glad you put more police. And then conservatives are like weirded out when government flips the script and they're like, oh yeah, all your guns are illegal now. They're like, wait, but that's not what I wanted. When I supported the NRA and the NRA was like, yeah, actually you need more police officers on the street, I was like, yeah, that makes sense because the NRA is protecting my rights, right? No, that's not what was happening. That was you being bought. That was you being shifted into compliance by a patsy organization that is allowed to exist because that's part of the control. That's part of the great thing that we built here, which is the system to own our lives rather than the system to allow us to live our lives in civil society. That's the distinction that we're supposed to have on government. Is a properly tolerated minimal government is one in which you are living and protected in various activities by a government interested in you creating your own life, versus the maximally invasive government that we keep begging for, which is the one that says, we will tell you what you can do rather than what you can't, because the list is shorter for what you can. And it just gets on my fucking nerves every now and then.